Well, if the best HECARIM in the world, Chasik, is getting rank 1 in the Korean server, you're probably thinking, maybe HECARIM works well in this meta. True, he does. We're against Green on the Kazakhs here, but we have an EUS game with the HECARIM. Now, while this meta is good for him, obviously the HECARIM isn't dominating the win rates, right? He's not dominating in a way that you would assume for a farming, level 6 spiking, snowballing inexperience kind of game style. That's because his itemization and he himself as a champion, those things are not Astra broken. And obviously there's a lot of ways to go. We'll see how we go in this game with our items, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But mostly I want to again focus on HECARIM's game style, because historically, I have always hated HECARIM as a champion. He's been too strong in the stat department, takes very little skills to deal with your life and obliterate it. However, now I'm feeling a lot more comfortable facing him, and I think a good HECARIM really showcases himself. We see the Kazakhs here, obviously with the ward, go blue grump into this weird little late invade nonsense. Obviously, we always hate this. The negative here is that we have 0 Prio mid and 0 Prio bot lane. When this occurs against you as a farming jungler, a lot of it is because you're purely, the ping's already Agura knows, is because you don't ward this blue and grump pit early. You've got to ward this early. You've got to see if this is happening. 1 minute of 5, 1 minute of 8, ward the blue, move on down to start your Raptors, get early information for this, and then of course you can decide without having to react what exactly you want to do to counter this invade. Now, obviously, Kazakhs knows that HECARIM has no other place to go other than here. Decides to go and do Raptors, get level 3, swing on down to the blue, and HECARIM has to go, well then, this isn't exactly where I want to be against a conqueror Kazakhs while having bottom lane Prio and mid lane Prio against me. You absolutely must head to Virkayu.gg. Not only do I have a free jungle improvement resource, I also have a dedicated program with jungle video courses, jungle coaching, coaching classes, a jungle VOD library, special weekly content you'll see nowhere else. All of this available through a premium jungle Discord, which is highly active, a huge community that help each other climb using my jungle program and courses. As we have seen by everybody hitting their peak rank goals in Split 1 and Split 2 of Season 14 as fast as possible. So to climb faster than everybody you know and to jungle div every game you play, head to Virkayu.gg or click the link in the description below. And as we swing back over to the Kazakhs here, he will do his blue, right? He knows, all right, I'm going to do my blue, and he's got this ward here, so he'll know if the HECARIM goes up. But this is a great video to look at as a farming or experience-focused jungler. What can I do now to counter this cheese, ultimately? How do I get experience? And the way I've always viewed it is, okay, very stoic. All right, it's gone. Now what can I do about it? Nothing I can change. Can't control the enemy jungler to that degree. If they want to do those things, what is the best way to make lemonade from the situations? Obviously, Kenyon's approach to these was just, well, it's gone, might as well gank a lane. Obviously, here the ward shows that he is going up. That's a fantastic ward by the Kazakhs. We know what's going on. HECARIM decides to do the wall, scuttle into the red, and now most likely will be run into again. However, Cassio's on her own. We're watching this from Blue Team's perspective. Cassio's going to be moving it down. We see the Kazakhs, we see the Orianna, and now we're like, oh my god, really? I just want my camps. This is fantastic from the red team's perspective of denying the HECARIM, but HECARIM's like, look at this, you see that? You see that? Little bit of, wait a second, while I don't have E because I got 2 points in Q, I can still battle you with my helicopter blades. And here's the problem with this strategy of trying to deal with the invades. If you get collapsed upon with 3 negative lane states, as HECARIM hates, you're going to be in a situation where you're having to give up your grump, your second small grump, which is what you really don't want to have to give up. So if you are this jungler in this situation here, you try and steal the blue and Kazakhs kicks you out, you swing to the wolves, you swing to the scuttle. Ideally, it would be better to go for a gank here to remove some of that Prio. However, if it's not possible, yeah, you try and steal the red and you hope it's not warded. Great job by the Kazakhs, obviously. Legendary jungler of all time. Ooh, that's a nice Aurora. Pun not intended there on the new champion, but literally what it is on this Winter Blast skin. Very beautiful. Now, Kazakhs, again, will have this farming tempo. However, I want you to take a little bit of a stock of what's going on here. Kazakhs is level 5, we're level 4, nowhere near level 5, which is a bit pain. But we know he's on the top side, most likely finishing off those camps and, you know, continuing the cycles. At one point there, we were only down 4 CS, and we had already gone back to base. Now, the problem is, as I said, we know that he's topside taking this away, but that HECARIM's like, well, did he base for the scuttle or is he topside? I don't actually know what's going on here. So I'm just going to try and look for any sort of action that I can get going to get back in the game experience-wise. And the waffling here is, honestly, I do not blame him. You know how we all hate waffling on this channel, just wandering around, not knowing what to do. What the hell else are you going to do in this particular situation? What else are you actually going to do? Because 3 Prio lanes cut you off at all angles. Kha'Zix does a great job across the board and now has stopped your farming, your sequencing, and your ganking prowess. And warded the second spawn of the wolf, so we know exactly where he's going next. Now, Kha'Zix has to determine, right, HECARIM's going to have to go for these grubs, no question. Do we want to actually contest this, right? We look at top lane, we see 6 on this, we see the 6 on the Skarner, but our mid lane is in base. Our mid lane eventually has to kind of retract and to see some power in the lane. And so HECARIM will get a freebie. Now, the difficulty about these invade cheeses, as you're noticing from the Kha'Zix's perspective, is maintaining that pressure. This is how you do it, and this is why most people, I tell you, don't cheese to climb, because you are not a Gurren, you're not going to know to go blue Grump, ward Raptors for that eventual counter jungling that HECARIM's going to do, cut him off again, counter jungle him again. You're not going to know how to do that just, doing cheese strategies. Obviously, he does. HECARIM gets free grubs, now goes and holds him mid-wave. I don't think we necessarily need to over-exert ourselves for this dragon. From blue team's perspective, this is a little bit of results based here, but obviously you are the HECARIM. So even if you don't want to get involved here as HECARIM, keep your damn eyeballs on the map and look to see, because you have Ghost, you have E. If someone can be cleaned up, you can get that, and you really need it at this point. So worst case scenario, your whole team contests a dragon and dies and wipes. You at least can do Raptors, Krugs. I advise that to prevent counter jungling, and then go topside and maybe try something here. If Kha'Zix then ganks this, then you can go here obviously as well. You just want to give yourself options, but really solid not dying strategy from the HECARIM here, and obviously securing the objective as well. Now we see this, we're not quite level 6. If you do the Krugs, you would be level 6. However, I think the question is Ezreal still going to be there? And that's always what you got to factor in. Ezreal has no mana though, so in this case we don't need to wait for our ultimate. However, if you do need your ult in that situation to get the kill, I would maybe try and do the Krugs, get the 6 and then rotate. I think in lower MMRs, you should have no stress doing that. Obviously in high elo, we got to be smart about this. Now, Kha'Zix is back to farming. All right, I don't always, he can do it. Don't recommend the rest of us to do it, because Bruiser Conqueror Kha'Zix Farmathon is not for us mortals on the champion. Let's just put it that way. Obviously, here we go into the blue invade. Nice ward to track that. HECARIM says, that's no stress for me. I'm going to go ahead and steal this blue. Steal because I don't really think I own my camps at this stage. And now we eventually have a bit of a collapse. This is exactly what HECARIM wants. You want to sequence 6, get 6 fires, use 6. That's a stereotypical thing to do. However, right now, as we see the Leona moving up, the bot has moved up as well. We got a 3v3. Orianna kills the Akali. There it is. In the meantime, chain CC on the Kha'Zix against the wall. Beautiful E by the Skarner. Ult goes through here, and this is all you're doing as HECARIM in any game you play. Let's look at that again while I was struggling to remember what champions' names were. This is what you're looking for. Bide your time, don't die, stay as close and experienced as possible, get 6, and look for that perfect moment to use it. Look, let's be honest, a little bit greedy from the red team. Like, obviously, HECARIM eventually is going to sequence up here. Great CC, great ult, unstoppable fear, helicopter moment, stun there into the E, beautifully done by the Skarner and the Leona. A little bit of helicopter gaming here. Obviously, remember, your W will be up again if we need it, but we do not, so we're good. Now, because of all that, we have 3.7k gold. Kha'Zix has 2.9k gold. This was one of the most graceful losses of an early game when we've been cheesed and cut off with 0 pride that I've ever seen, I guess, really in the last few seasons. That's not hyperbolic. You don't often see this kind of suppressive jungling with 3 Prio lanes, unless it was Canyon Showmaker in Worlds of 2020, 2021. 2020, yeah. Either season, really. That was the farming meta, so all Canyon had to do was pick Nidalee Graves and have Showmaker with Prio, and GG to the rest of us, you know what I mean? Regardless, just checking if the pings were going, because high yellow pings as a noise is quite tilting. You'll notice if I do a coaching video in bronze, no pings. Do a coaching video in challenger, you need to mute it because I can't hear myself think. It's like those old school clocks in the European villages, which some people like. I know my family likes them, but I'm ding, 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 I hate them. I'm a bit noise sensitive that way, so. Anyway, regardless, and so it is. The HECARIM has done a great job controlling his map, and obviously now we got a huge amount of downtime in this meta. If you were regular sequencing at this stage, you'd want to use your ult bottom lane, or gank bottom lane, or gank mid lane, or sequence up for the grubs, but everything's really distorted. So we had a lot more downtime here, and we didn't want to overcommit or overexert for the counter jungling either. So we'll do Krugs. We can go back to base here. Finito and item. Obviously, the Eclipse technology is super good. We'll see if we go into the Redemption arc. Redemption's super good on him. Low econ, high utility. Don't really always need 20 million golds, right? Like, that's also huge here. HECARIM is typically a high econ carry, and you want to scale through great farming and great power. That was probably a silly contest, let's be honest. There's a Cassio fighting with the Skarner. That's great, but from HECARIM's point of view, like you see here, this is what I would say in a solo queue environment in lower MMRs. Let the Kazakhs do as grubs, right? Just let them do it. We have 3. They're going to have 3. No one's getting mites. Cool, right? Like, I can live with that. What then can I do afterwards, though? If I give him the grubs, is there a better play to be made? Yes, we can kill, on the TP here, the Cassio. And while he will get this, maybe we can then leverage that power into a few plates, a few counter jungling moments, and I'm willing to give him a grub for that. Like, I don't need to go and get this 4th grub. It's not the be-all and end-all of the world. So that's where I see it, especially with Leona rotating as well, and the Kazakhs doing illegal isolation damage. Now we're out of this fight, right? So we're not going to get an assist or anything on the Cassio. The Kazakhs is going to get this and go back into his camps and get this for free. We don't get any pressure on the plates. So from the contest perspective for HECARIM, I say, look, you've done a great job, but you're still squishy. You're still a bit behind in experience, and you're 20 CS down. You know, give him the grubs and try and make up plays somewhere else versus forcing it on the grubs. Definitely a better way to go about things when you have your ult up. Regardless, we'll try and go onto the Bard here. Nicely done by everybody involved, actually. Again, eyes up, 80% rule. Look for those rotations. Look for those usages of your E, your R, and your Ghost. And here we'll clean up that. Do not go for the Dragon. Why? Because you can see Leona needs to base. Akali at this stage, 1600 cash money, is going to want to shove and go back to base. Varus is by himself with no R. Are you really going to contest that they're dragon? No, you're not. So I think the logic here for not contesting the dragon means don't contest the grubs and do the same thing on the top side. And if you're consistent with that kind of Marcus Aurelius stoicism, then I think you'll notice your jungling go to the next level. Because ultimately, there's so much shit that you can get on the map, and that's why HECARIM's good right now. Itemization is into a high econ heavy. Sequencing, levels. Is he in a wall? That was weird. And yeah, that's huge. Now, the Skarner, obviously, they've tried to deal with this champion quite a bit. Failed miserably. Looks like the rework at this point is complete and utter failure. Stoned. Well, that's why we don't gank Cassios, and if we do, we Mega Chain CC, and when he misses the ult, maybe we don't do it. But we'll allow it. Oopsie daisy, my bad, says the HECARIM. Down a huge amount of CS. And this is why I like this video, because we always talk about super high econ HECARIM farm, but what happens if HECARIM's behind? How can you be useful? How can you dominate? And you're seeing here the greed, 2 levels up, huge amount of CS up, that's great. But again, HECARIM can still be useful in these situations. Carry junglers are squishy, they can die, you got CC, you got your W. That scaling resistance there is huge. We got 2 points into it, now they go up to 25, right? Yep. 5 to 25 bonus resistances when you press this mega button. And get healing back. And your build is lower econ. So I've never been more relaxed, I think, if I'm a HECARIM. No lane Prio, yeah, that sucks. But you saw how to navigate it here gracefully, right? Like, it's not, no! You know, you don't want to die unnecessarily. You just want to get your camps as you can, play it safe. That was the first death, by the way, and it's honestly just Cassio moment. Full sequence down relatively for what this game has been, which will allow us to catch up. And remember, HECARIM has Omega Giga Super mid-game farming tempo, and he will catch people up really quickly. Gold amount, 5.6k at 14, 5.1k for the Kazakhs. So the Kazakhs has the experience. He ain't got the gold, though, and that's fine for HECARIM. HECARIM loves experience, but he also loves gold here. And for an ADC, you know, there you go. Will we live? Oh, woo, that was close. But then again, shows you 6.2k gold now, 1,000 gold lead over the Kazakhs, who gets the free herald. If we gave him the grubs, I guarantee you, by killing the Cassio easily and then invading his red and taking some plates, you're in a much better position as HECARIM than trying to contest that one singular grub for mites. And the logic he used to give up the dragon and the herald, I think if we use that on the grubs, we're in a much better position. And that's saying a lot because we've played very, very well to stay within touching distance of the Kazakhs. And in the name of bugs, goes again for aggression, kills the ADC, the Hecarim on the bottom side, forces the flash out of the bug, and now the whole team is going to rotate, and this is your music as Hecarim. Yes, please all go top side, kill him. Yes, thank you so much. Oh, now you relax, now you breathe. We've waited 15 minutes to farm. We've made it 15 minutes to take his camps away and catch up a little bit. We've waited 50 minutes to have salvation, and this is great. It's exactly what you're looking for. In the meantime, mid lane we see Leona again, trying to solo kill the Orianna. We don't have much, but Akali does the business here. Waiting for the E to come off cooldown. We do have Smite as well, and there it is. We can move quickly. Do we greed a little bit? I think we should. Thank you so much. Always. Go for yourself. I mean, look, the build is a little bit low econ, as I said, but it's still a high econ champion. Like, you still want gold, you still want kills, you still want experience. Regardless, we're now a level ahead. From level 8 to level 10 to level 11 to level 10. Like, now we're level up, and we were 2 levels down. Wasn't 100% 2 levels, but, you know, you're in game, you see a level 10 Kha'Zix, you're level 8, you're like, well, that's not very good, is it? What can I do? And now, obviously, being a level up is huge. Dragons are going to be respawning thusly. They have 2, we have 0. At this point, I think I might have based just to ensure I could actually go and fight this. Here's the Kha'Zix, use the plant, Smite, again, a little too deep. Burgurin looking for those counter jungling moments. Obviously, we lost the bottom side quadrant. We knew that would happen when we died. That's a little bit over the top. Orianna does a huge amount of damage, fresh buff, extra attack damage for some particular reason. Now, though, we are going to not be here for the respawn, but we're Hecarim, so we can leave the base quickly. Black Cleaver completed. There you go. Stickiness, HP, cooldown, haste, AD, HP, GG, basically. Mid lane is your inting Ezreal, so that's a good way to pick things up. I mean, I know it's not worth a lot of gold, but that assassination bottom lane opens up the map to breathe a bit. Doesn't give him free farm, gives you free farm. Always good to look at it that way. Now, there's Kha'Zix, and you can see here our shield. Now, healing from the E does a lot more than it used to. Now we have the HP ult over the wall. That's another kill there. Dash into the Bard here, knock him back a little bit. Helicopter moments, another kill there for Akali, 616. And already, give me, I clicked shift too much. I wanted to see the damage from Black Cleaver, but obviously they don't give it. Damage blocked 1732 on that shield there, and damage dealt 656. I wish it also gave us the stats in game on the abilities or in replays. These are cool things. Like, I want to see what a W did there. How much did it absorb with the Eclipse shield? Kind of massive, in my opinion. Huge, though. What a wonderful comeback. 12 out of 20 KP. Smack on 60%. We're in a great position right now. And we've caught up the CS gap completely. And again, that's the lesson. If you're able to sequence and dominate the map, cool. If you're able to get fisted like this with map Prio, sad. But in the mid-game, Hecarim rotates and farms like an absolute behemoth beast of old. We got 5 into Q, 5 into W. You're really tanky in those fights now. You got a nice, low econ yet powerful 1v9 build that enables yourself and your team. Is really, really huge. Beautiful dash over the wall there. Chef's kiss onto the Krugs because of the vision. Thank you so much. And now Kha'Zix is like, man, now I'm down 2 levels. This is a crazy, crazy experience swing. Dash into a helicopter there. There's the Eclipse going through again. We just tank a little bit with the HP we have. This is just magnificent horseplay. Which is funny because I'm making a hugely in-depth guide, a passion project for the main channel. 40 minutes, edited the whole way through. Biggest video I've ever made in my life. Coming hopefully tomorrow, Friday. And one of the clips there is the champion's name plus Hecarim horseplay. So I guess that came through in the subconscious. Right, let's go ahead and build next items. We're 9.4k gold to 6.5k gold. Yes, Kha'Zix was a little bit aggressive and threw some leads, but Hecarim kept his composure the whole time. Yes. Look at this. 300 health, 25 resistance is a piece. You got 10 haste, which is fantastic. The cooldown on that passive is pretty decent, but it gives you that huge ass damage and slow on your ultimate. And when you're diving into comps with your phase rush and moving around, 5 seconds, slowing them by 30, and you're fearing them, and you're knocking them back, and you're helicopter twirling the whole time. Stacking this passive up. Oh, there it is. No, that's not it. Black Cleaver! Anti-armor. Nah, anti-champion, I think, at this stage. Health. Oh my goodness. What on earth is going on with the text? Let's say 2600? I know you guys can't read it. I can't read it either. 2669 HP. Goodness gracious. Well, don't want to become nearsighted either. Anyway, to the mid lane. But Virkayu, if you build utility, you can't assassin. I mean, his team was there, true, but he doesn't need his team. He could have done it anyway. That's what's powerful about this. I think people are sleeping on this. And honestly, HECARIM's builds are largely the reason his win rate is shit. Is people either don't play the map or the meta correctly, even though it's his meta, or they just build incorrectly. Like all those years, they were building suboptimal items. Like we had the nerfed chem tank, right? And then people were still building that item when you should have gone over to like Divine Sunder and Trinity Force and things like that. Always like Viego's late to atomization shifts, and it compromises his win rate because he can build so much. I mean, I get it. Like he can build so much. Why would you strap yourself to one particular build? But Chasik, the rank 1 HECARIM world who hit rank 1 in Korea, even he goes these items, and he is a very conservative builder. When he always hits top 10 Korea, he's always building, like even when we were building Lethality and Fighter and Sundered Sky was terrible, or Divine Sunder was terrible, he would still build it and find ways to make it work. So the champion is really exquisite in that sense. Like the W here is absolutely insane. Huge damage. Beautiful build, man. Like this, you can imagine in a game where you have a huge lead and you're just spiking at 3 items as quickly. What do people do? But it's important, as you'll see in the guide again tomorrow, Friday on the main channel. There's a couple HECARIM clips that I'm able to deal with him by tracking, planting myself in a bush in a side lane and hitting those crucial CC spells or just disrupting the gang somehow. It's very important that you're able to do that. Otherwise, if you just let him free farm and don't punish him, which is what Kazakhs try to do here, the guy will invariably just Lego jump you in the mid game, which is what he did. And obviously Akali is fair, but Akali is 122 CS. Like your assassin mid laner is gonna have the same gold as you, but not from CS, from champions. It's important that you as a HECARIM always push those waves. This is a fantastic, interesting early game to a really solid comeback down 2 levels. And you know, the Kazakhs has gone up 3 levels, and at the same time he's gone up 7. Think about that. It's a 4-level swing. Kazakh was 10, he was 8, now he's 15 and he's 13. Incredible swing in levels there. Obviously, that's why we also don't always like those Kazakhs builds. Or in this particular case, we did go lethality farming and yeah, the Conqueror. Dark Harvest changes as well. Like it's gonna be, when I see a little bit of a shift, beautiful aura over the wall, the Orianna ultimate into the team comp, doesn't really matter. See, that ult there is what you're kind of looking for when you have more utility, is you want to disrupt and interfere and separate teams from each other. In this particular case, we lose the Varus. Pali's coming from base here, we're counting back now. We do kill the top laner as well, regardless. Waiting for CCs, cleanses burn, and look, we can survive here. We got another shield, that cooldown's pretty damn low. Edge of Night activated on the Kazakhs. Kali goes back in there and kills the Ezreal, and she lives just. Will Kazakhs try something with a flash? Kali dashes back. ISO slowed by the W. Whew. Can you believe that this shit was like 90% and now it's 75%? Yet that felt like it was 2,000 years I was CC'd for. And it was like that for years, man, years. If they want to go for the dragon, you know, so be it. You don't really want to contest it otherwise. Counter jungling is okay. Feel like we should still be able to get it. Sterax is the next item. This is the way. Bit of lifeline shield to go with our other shields. Bit of tenacity to go with our need to move and be free. We are of the plains. We are the Comanche. Well, I don't know if you want to be. Separate discussion. Anyway. We are from Lord of the Rings. We have 700 limbs. There we go. Free assassination on the Kazakhs. Chase everybody down. Beautiful use of the redemption there with the ultimate. Redemption. Zeeks. That item has changed many times over the years, but the cooldowns are pretty crazy at this particular stage. I like this build a lot more. I always like these kinds of builds because I feel like the most skilled among you who play these kinds of champions are still able to 1v9 and understand how the utility works. You're able to get leads where your items are just booming everybody, but if you're behind, you're able to recover and still maximize the champion. I think that's the lesson from this video, but really good example of not power early, but how we can swing in the late early to the mid game and translate the level lead into our own pockets. HECARIM, he's damn good.